Well, again, with you, Dr. Radia Bugels, you're the instructor in this MOOC, Developing Strategic Reading. The third part in sequence, one which is entitled the reading process. Of course, after presenting in the previous sequence, and my colleague exposed and explained for you the different types of texts, because it is very important to know before we start reading the number of texts we could have. Today's presentation, I will focus on the stages in the reading process. The main objective in my presentation is to introduce the three main stages in the reading process, meaning that enable you to know that whenever we decide or we have a purpose in mind and we decide to read a text, we should know that we can move through three main stages. In this presentation, I will highlight the importance, explain each stage, and highlight the importance behind each stage. Let's start. The stages of reading, as we call them, are three main stages. Stage number one, the pre or the before reading stage. Stage number two, the during and the while reading stage. And stage number three, the post or the after reading stage. As far as the first stage of reading, which is labeled as the pre-reading stage. During this stage, the reader is required to take few minutes to get involved in the text, meaning that we need this period of time so that we prepare ourselves for what is coming, meaning that's the during reading stage. What happens during the before reading stage? Here, the reader can rely by asking himself a couple of questions and relying by then on a number of the before reading strategies. The main target of the main aim of these before reading strategies is to help the reader get an idea of what the author might be trying to say, meaning that without getting engaged, you can know from surface the intention of the writer. Before starting, for sure, to read, the reader can ask a few questions, as I have mentioned in the previous slide, about the text, such as what is this text about? What can I learn from this text? What clues might the author be giving me, and what might I anticipate what would happen in this text? These questions will make the reader notice small details, meaning that he will focus on those details that are apparent on the material he is going to read. He could also make connections between the text and his prior knowledge, meaning that what he has got received as previous knowledge. Also, the pre-reading strategies can help him to warm up himself and motivate himself or herself to get the most from this reading experience. Some reading techniques the reader can manipulate during this stage are as follows. Number one, the use of prior knowledge. Prior knowledge is what we have, or our knowledge about the topic of the text. So here, at this level, the reader can ask himself, what do I already know about the content I'm going to read? The second pre-reading strategy is referred to as previewing. Previewing is to have a quick idea about the content of the material via, as we have explained in the previous presentation, via the reading, the skimming reading, or the scan reading. And here the reader can focus on the title, have a look on the title, the pictures that are included in the material, some captions under this picture, and of course the headings. All those elements can have or can help the reader to develop an overview about the material he's going to read. The third pre-reading technique is making predictions, and this is very important. What makes the reader involved and motivated throughout his reading is when he make a prediction, meaning that I guess, asking or saying to himself, I guess that the author will focus on this element, I think that something will happen, and etc. So those predictions will help him to get engaged and start reading actively the text. After completing the we can have this example before moving to the second stage of reading. This example, as you can see, so I have here a beginning of a text, the title and the few lines that this, of course, article starts with, and there is a picture and a caption. So here, I can ask myself at this level, have a look at the title and the picture of this newspaper article and read the first lines and ask myself, what will be the focus of the author in this article? So here, I will rapidly move my eyes throughout the title, the caption, the picture, and the few lines, and I can say that I guess he will talk about healthy food. I guess he will compare healthy food to unhealthy food. I guess that he will provide us with the appropriate, healthy, and inexpensive dish. This is as far as the pre-reading is concerned. After making my prediction, I move to the second stage, which is the during reading stage. At a during reading stage, precedes or comes after the before reading stage. We also refer to it as the while reading stage. At this level, the reader starts reading. Now it is time to start reading by paying attention to the following, meaning that we are guided by some elements that we represent later, some reading while reading strategies, the topic sentence or the main idea of the material, the details, the text structure, how the text is organized, a new terminology, the tone of the author. So all those elements will help me to confirm what I have already predicted in the before reading strategy. So to generate a deep understanding of the text and monitor the comprehension, readers should do the following. First, confirm or revise the prediction previously stated, and I have referred to it. Those predictions say, I think that the writer will include this element, he will focus on this point, he will compare, contrast, etc. Another thing I can do as a reader is gathering and organizing information from gain information from this material, also learning new vocabulary. And this is some of the benefits the reader can gain from during reading stage. During this stage, the reader can rely on some reading techniques which are referred to as during reading techniques, meaning that they are used during reading, when we are reading. So here, identifying the topic sentence in each paragraph. This is one element. Identifying some facts about this material, making some guesses as far as the new vocabulary introduced, and here we rely on context clues. Also, he can rely on designing a graphic organizer, and here we mean the structure of the text. It may be a comparison contrast organization, cause effects organization, argumentative organization. So all those things, he can do them after or during his reading. Also, he can read between the lines to make inferences, and this, of course, will motivate him to carry on his reading. And summarizing by the end to have or to say the main idea in his own words. These are some during reading techniques. Of course, those techniques will be thoroughly explained in the coming sequences. The during reading stage is followed by a post-reading stage, of course, after completing the reading. Now, what are the tasks that should be, or that the reader should hold? Of course, he reflects. Of course, after completing his reading, he can reflect on the text. Also, while he by reflecting, he evaluates some included the ideas. He can say, compare it to what he has acquired in his previous knowledge. Also, he can retell the story, meaning that summarize the story in his own words. He can discuss the structure of the text. He can ask questions, and then when asking those questions, he compare them with another text. To do that, the reader during this stage of reading, of course, the reader is given the opportunity to express his understanding of the reading selection in writing or in an oral discussion by responding to the following. So here he will discuss what was included in the material, saying why did the author write the text, do I agree or disagree with the author in some points, what else do I find interesting in this material, what I'm confused about. Sometimes we end our reading by a kind of confusion as far as certain ideas used or included in the text. And of course, the most important thing, what do I like or dislike in this text. This, of course, will help me to carry on reading to this author or just stop reading. Some post-reading strategies we have. Drawing conclusions. Yes, the reader can draw conclusions. Making judgments, meaning that whether you agree, you disagree, you like, you dislike, and the most important thing is writing a reaction or a response. So there is no reading without a reaction. So whenever we finish our reading, we should write. Sometimes we do not write, but rather we discuss orally with someone else who has already read this material. We say in brief that in the before reading stage, you should take few minutes. Very important, those few minutes, because those few minutes will help you to start your reading, to get motivated to the text you are going to read, to make predictions, to do many things, so that you will move to the second stage, the during reading stage. You thoroughly get deeply in getting the maximum of your understanding from the text. You can confirm, disconfirm your predictions, revise them, get to the main idea, summarize, etc. And when you complete your reading, it is the post-reading stage. And of course, during this stage, it is time for the reader to write something or to discuss it. Here you can rely on discussing certain ideas provided by the author of this material. He can discuss the writer's intention, compare his intentions to others, etc. All in all, this what is or the main important elements that the reader should know before he starts reading. In the coming sequences, the focus will be in explaining, highlighting the different strategies that you can rely in during your reading for the sake of developing a strategic reader. These are some references we relied on it. Thank you for being so attentive.